guys, we're going to be making this cute bag by Parker on the Porch. This is what the front looks like. This is what the back looks like right here. This one is the 8 by 12 size. It's fairly large. It fits my iPad Pro. If you have a really big bulky case on your iPad Pro, it might not fit because it's pretty snug in here. Like it just goes straight in. It's more about the zipper. If it was a little bulkier, it probably wouldn't zip as easily, but this is my iPad Pro and it fits just fine. Okay, so this is what we're going to be making right here. This is the 8 by 12 size. I'm going to make the 5 by 7 size with you guys. Okay, so you need your 5 by 7 hoop. Go ahead and put whatever stabilizer you prefer. Whatever stabilizer you're putting right here is going to stay in the bag. So if you're a person that doesn't like the tearaway sound inside the bag, go ahead and do your cutaway. You're going to have to cut around the zipper. There's lots of tutorials that Jen did that show you how to get the zipper, the cutaway away from the zipper before you close bags. But I'm going to use tearaway because it doesn't bother me, and I will go ahead and meet you at the machine, and I'll see you over there. Okay, I'm on my machine. First step is up on my machine. It's going to go be the placement stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that directly onto my stabilizer, and I'll come back and show you what the placement looks like. Okay guys, this is what the placement looks like right here. Now the placement steps are really important. It shows you how big of fabric you need, but it also shows you where to place your zipper and how big of a zipper you need. You need a zipper where the pull and the end of the zipper can get past the placement stitches here and here with your foot being able to get by them. That's the minimum size zipper that you need. You can have super long zipper because we just cut off the excess in the end, but it can't be shorter than that. So I have a zipper here. This is a number 3 zipper right here, and the pull's on this side. If I want it to open from that side, I put the pull over here. If I want the zipper to open from the other side, I just turn it this way instead. So whichever preference you prefer. Now I line my zipper right next to this bottom line right here. So go ahead and do that like this. Make sure your end is past here. Make sure your pole is past there. Now you're just going to line it up right next to that line, and then you can tape either side or you can hold it. I hold it as the machine goes. It's going to go ahead and do one little line right here. It's going to jump your zipper teeth and do a line right here, tacking your zipper to your stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and run step 2. That's what it's going to do, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right here. Here's the top front of your hoop. Here's the top back of your hoop. That's what they look like. You can see that it went ahead and tacked down the zipper, so we are good to go with our zipper. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put the front of our bag on and the liner at the same time. This is a top zip bag, so you put them on at the same time. This is the fabric we're placing, this white right here. That's what you're placing right now for the front, and you're placing the liner right here, okay? So I always do the liner first. I'm going to flip my hoop to the back side. You can see I wrote top back, so the top is up here of your bag. You can see stitch lines right here. Okay, those are placement stitches. Now I'm going to take my fabric. I would face whatever is the correct way towards me. So this is the right side of the fabric. If I had hearts like this, they would face me, and then I go ahead and I flip it upside down like this, pull it all the way up. There is a placement line right here, the bottom placement line. You want to go ahead and pull this just below that placement line. Make sure you're past these. You have fabric on both sides of these placement lines, and you're just under that last placement line right there. So you're going to go ahead and tape here because you're underneath your hoop, and tape here. Now you have a lot of this, your liner flapping right there. You're going to need to watch that as we go through our next steps, but that's how you want it, just like that. Ultimately, what's going to happen, it's going to stitch one line, and then you're going to pull it down like this, and that's how you get your liner facing you correctly. You want to make sure, you can test right now, if you pull this down, you need to get past these stitch lines. If you're not past, you need a bigger piece of fabric, okay? So that's what you need to do. So then flip it over to the front of your hoop. You're going to do the exact same thing with the front fabric. I am using this canvas right here. I like using canvas on bags. This is thicker, So I'm not actually interfacing this. I always interface the fronts of my bags though. So right here, this front piece. If I was just using regular woven fabric, I would interface it, and I would interface it with medium fusible interfacing is basically what I would do. But because I'm using canvas, it's thicker and I don't use interface on canvas. So I'm not using interfacing, but if you are using woven, I highly suggest you put interfacing on it to make your fabric thicker, okay? And there's lots of videos that I show where I use interfacing. I'm just not using it with canvas, okay? So this is the same thing. If your fabric is facing you, say this is the right side and there's hearts facing you, you want the right side facing you. And then once you have that done, you take the right side of your fabric, you flip it over like that, and then you pull it up, and I line it up right along this bottom zipper, just like that. And make sure I get past my placement stitches. And then I'm gonna go to the machine, I'm gonna run the next step. It's gonna do one line across here, tacking this to the stabilizer and tacking your liner to the stabilizer, okay? So I'm gonna hold it. You can tape right here if you want to, but I'm just gonna bring this to the machine, hold it, tack it down, and then I'll show you what it looks like. You should look like on your hoop. This is right along the zipper. Your liner should be all the way up like this. You don't want it to get folded over underneath. So make sure that that is up and nice. I'm gonna go ahead and run step 3. It's gonna tack that down. I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked that down right there. Now you can do a check right now so you don't get too far into your bag, and make sure both of these pass your stitch lines on the bottom. See, that's big enough. Oops, sorry, I have to do it one-handed over here. And then on this side, this can get by my stitch lines and is big enough, see? So it went ahead and did the one line, okay? Now you're gonna go ahead and put this back on your machine. The next step is you're gonna keep your liner up. Your liner stays up till all of your applique and everything's stitched. So you're gonna have to make sure that stays out of the way, okay? But you're gonna take the front of your bag like this and pull it down, okay? Now I make sure, you can finger press it or whatever you wanna do. I make sure that it's flat and straight and tight. The next step is going to go ahead and stitch a curve all the way down here, tacking the front of your bag down, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and run that. I just hold it. You can get it all straight and tight and tape it if you want. I just hold it like this as it goes around, and I keep it tight like this as it goes around, okay? Make sure your liner is still up here, okay? Okay, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked your front fabric all the way down, okay? So we are good to go there. The very next step, you're going to keep your liner up for a while. The very next step is going to go ahead, it's going to do the placement now for your pencils. So it's going to go ahead and run that. You're going to run it directly on the front of your bag. So I'm going to run that and I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, that's what your placement stitches look like right there on the front of your bag. Now you're going to go ahead and just measure the height here and the width. You're going to need a little bit extra width because you're going to be folding it over for one. You're going to tack down just like we did on the back. You're going to tack down right here, and then you're going to fold it over, and then you're going to basically just do that over and over again. So you need it a little bit wider. You want about a 1/4 inch over here left. You don't want to cut all the way close on the side, else it's going to pull out of your design. So go ahead, you're going to use like a 1/4 seam allowance here. But so you need to measure a little bit bigger, and then we're going to be folding them over as we go. So depending on what bag you're making determines on how many pencils you have. This is the 5x7 bag, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pencils. So you're going to need 6 pieces of fabric, okay? So I went ahead and measured, and I'm using this star fabric right here from Joann's. This was at Joann's. And then I went ahead and I fussy cut because I'm going to do like the colors in different orders. Okay, so I went ahead and cut a big enough piece of fabric to get what stars I want in each square. Okay, so I went ahead and did that 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And then I'm going to use Heat and Bond Light on this, right? So I cut pieces of Heat and Bond Light a little smaller than my fabric because I don't want to get the sticky stuff on my mat here. It's just Heat and Bond Light. Okay. So what you're going to do is once you have all that set up and ready, There's a rough side on Heat and Bond Light, and then there's the covering over here that's smooth. So you're going to take the wrong side of your fabric, face up, wrong side of your fabric. You're going to take the rough side of your Heat and Bond Light. You're going to put it on your fabric. Now you don't want Heat and Bond Light sticking out over all your fabric, because when you flip it over and iron it, you're going to get all that sticky stuff on your iron. Okay, so you're going to kind of want to cut the Heat and Bond Light a little smaller if you can. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and go like that, and you're just going to take your iron and you're just going to hold it on there for a few minutes so the glue can adhere to it. Okay, and then you're ready to go. You're going to want to do that on all 6 of your pieces, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay guys, I am back on my machine like this, and what we're going to do is start placing these appliques. You went ahead and put the Heat and Bond Light on the back of these, so they're on all of these. So what you're going to want to do now is, after it cooled a little bit, you're going to peel them off. Make sure to peel them off before you do your appliques, okay? So I'm just going to peel all these off. Now the purpose, you can do this bag without Heat and Bond Light. The purpose of using Heat and Bond Light is it keeps the fabric the right shape. It avoids shifting and puckering. It just makes it look crisp overall, and keeps it from fraying, stuff like that. So that's why you would use it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This first one's going to be, I'm going to try get the red stars in this square right here, this first square. You can see that you're going to go ahead and place, this is going to be a lot of fussy placing. Sorry, I used fabric that's going to be a little harder. So I want to get my stitch line like right along here, so these 2 red and orange stars show. So what I'm going to do is, you're going to do the right side down like this. I'm going to pull it over. It's going to stitch along this placement line right here. So that's what you're going to line up against. So I'm going to get it placed like right about here, I think. Look like that. Okay, probably right about like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and just hold it, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch a line right here. Now I have the right side facing the right side of the canvas. You're going to go like that. Now when we said we wanted a 1/4 seam allowance, we're talking about this. You want to leave some of this. You don't want to cut straight up to those stitch lines, okay? So then if you just leave some of that, and then you fold this way, once it stitches that line, then you fold it this way, and I'm just using my finger to get it straight down like that. Then you're going to go ahead and stitch the very next thing. And normally I don't run my machine while I do this video, but I'm just going to show you on one of these. Okay. It's down. Now that is exactly what you're going to do for all 6 of them, okay? Now I actually will show you. So right here, you can see my stitch lines right here. So what's going to show are those 2 red stars. So I actually placed that really good. It looks really good. They're pretty much right there. I am going to trim this down to 1/4. You want to leave about 1/4 seam allowance next to these stitches, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and trim that to about that place, and then I'll show you what we do on the next one. We're going to do the exact same thing, and then I will let it run from there. Okay guys, that's about how much fabric I'm leaving over. Okay, so I'm going to put this back on my machine. I'm going to make sure my liner stays up and out of the way. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and place my next piece. I have the Heat and Bond Light on it. I took the covering off of it. Okay. Now I'm going to try to get the orange and yellow stars in there. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my fabric wrong side, right sides on right side, so wrong side facing up. Now you have a line right here. That's what I'm measuring up to try to get this in the right place. Okay, so I think I need to be, I think I probably need to be like right about there. Let me see if that's where the stitch line is. I have a feeling that that's going to be close. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and just run the next step. So I got it face down like that. Okay. Once it's stitched, then you're going to go ahead and pull it down like this. I'm using my finger to make it flat and smooth. Okay, and then I'm going to hold it and I'm just going to stitch the tack down now. Now you are going to do this for all 6 spots, okay? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get some of this excess off so you don't have so much bulk underneath. I'm not trimming right up to the stitch lines. I'm leaving some of it. See, about a 1/4 inch allowance right there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the next piece and the next piece all the same way. So I'm going to come back and show you what that looks like when I'm done. Okay guys, this is what it should look like when you have them all down. The steps were exactly the same, you just do it 6 times. So this is what you should look like now. And then you still have your liner up there. Now I cut all the applique part, this top part off before the satin stitches all at once. I don't do it one at a time. You actually don't want to take your hoop off of your machine if you don't have to several times, because every time you take your hoop on and off of your machine, it adjusts your stabilizer and it can move your design around. So it's better to not do it until the end. But so now what we're going to do, we are going to trim off this top part right here because we're going to get some stitches up here. Okay, so I have applique scissors right here. They're just curved and rounded. And if you're looking for all the links, if you go into see more, underneath this video it'll have my name, and then there's a little thing you can click that says see more. In there it has all the links to the designs and the different, it has random things of stuff I use, to the zippers, to stabilizer, to the scissors. So you can find all that there. I'm going to use both these scissors. I like these ones right here to get really close, and I use these ones first. These are really good for applique. So you are going to cut along the stitch line all the way across, getting this excess off, getting as close as you can without actually cutting the stitches. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. Okay. And I just kind of hold it up at an angle, and then I just get as close as I can the first time, and then I'll go back and fix anything that I don't think's close enough. You just want to make sure you get the fabric off so your satin stitches or whatever is going on the other side of this does not show the fabric over it. So those stitches need to be thick enough to cover up any fabric you're leaving on this side. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get a little closer on some of these. Now, if you want to get like closer, this is when I turn it the other direction and I use these ones just to get some of these thicker edges that had some underneath, the overlapping, because you want to make sure that you will not see this on the other side of the next stitches that happen. And it's kind of bulky because I have folded over layers, so that's why I'm trying to get some of it out too, so the stitching looks right. Okay, once you have it pretty much like that, you don't need to cut anywhere else. The other part will get folded into the bag. Okay, it's pretty much like that right there. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our machine and I will show you what we're doing next. Okay, I'm back on my hoop. My liner is still up. So next step is going to stitch this part of the pencil right here. So go ahead and switch your thread and then stitch that next part, okay? I'll come back and show you what mine looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right here when I did the pencil stitching. Now we're going to do the leads. So I'm going to go ahead and do this red. I changed my thread to red and I'm going to go ahead and run that. I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, that's what the red looks like. Now I'm going to do that for every one of these. I'm just going to do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So I'm going to change my thread every time and run each step. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you what mine looks like when it's all done right there. Okay, I have all my threads stitched. Now we're going to go ahead and pull this liner down. So you want to take this off of your hoop. You're going to flip it over. You can take this tape off. And now you're going to pull this all the way down and you're just going to go ahead and tape it. Now I'm going to cut my excess off. I have a lot here, but you want to make sure you have it a little bit further down here, maybe like right about here. Okay, because we have to close through a hole down here. So go ahead and get that done. I'll show you what it looks like and we will go forward. Okay, I have it trimmed and cut and I taped on the corner so it stays down. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on my hoop. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step. I changed my thread back to white. I like to have the color of the bag when I do my stitching, just in case you can see some stitching on the edge. It will blend better. So I switched back to white. We're going to go ahead and run the next step, which is going to go ahead and stitch that curve like this, and that's going to tack your liner to your bag. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right there on the top of your hoop. This is what it looks like on the back of your hoop, okay? So we are ready to put the back of your bag on the front of your bag. And whenever you do that, you need to open your zipper. So go ahead and get your zipper open. You want it open far enough over that you can turn through this hole, but not so far that the foot of your machine will hit your pole when it's going around this edge. You have your placement stitches right here. It's going to sew around this corner several times and you don't want it to hit your pole, okay? So you have your zipper open. Now, that's all you need to do. You can just go ahead and put your back on and stitch your next step. If you want to add anything to your bag that hangs off of it, like for example, like this is when we do it. Or if you want to make it a purse with purse straps and stuff, this is when people add it right now before you put the back of your bag on. So I'm actually going to put this on right here. So I'm going to take it like this. This is a D swivel lobster clasp. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on here. I just made some bias tape. I'll show you in a second how I did it. I'm going to just take it like that. And then I'm going to go ahead, whatever you want to see on the front of your bag, you're going to put right sides together. So I want to see these red stars. So I'm going to put it face down on the inside of my bag. I have placement stitches right here. You can put them on any of your stitches because it's going to stitch all the way around here. So wherever you place it, it will be fine. If you're doing a purse, you would do 2 of them and you would just do them up here, but you would do it like this. Hardware goes in, sorry. It would go like this. You would do 2 of them and then you could hook purse straps to it. But I'm going to just do a little one on the side. So I'm going to go ahead. I want that red star showing. So depending on where you place it along this line will determine on what shows. If you want more of this showing, I would go more this way. If you want less of it showing, you would go more this way. It's going to stitch along the stitch line right here. Now you can't have it so close to here that the foot of your machine will hit your metal. So you have to have your metal far enough away. But I want to just kind of show like this 1 star around there. So I'm going to kind of just do like that. Okay. And then I'm going to tape it. And of course I moved my tape. So I'm going to leave that there right now. I'm going to tape that. But my tape's on the other table, so I'm not going to leave you for the minute. I'm going to show you real quick how I made this. Now you can use fold over elastic, you can use ribbon, you can use vinyl to make this little whole pole thing. I kind of used just my fabric and I made a bias tape. So I basically just went ahead and cut a square and then I fold like this and iron it. And then you open and then you fold both sides into that crease like this and iron it. And then you fold it over like that and iron it. And then I went ahead and did 1 straight line of stitching on my regular sewing machine to keep it closed. That's how you make bias tape. So that's all I did. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and tape that, and I'm gonna go to the machine, and you're gonna take the back of your bag, this part, the back of your bag, and you're gonna take the right side, and you're gonna face it down like this, and then you're gonna stitch the next step, which is gonna stitch all the way around this several times. So I'm going to tape this, make sure your zipper's open, put the back of your bag on, and stitch the next step. And then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. This is the top of your hoop. We're going to go ahead and flip it over. This is the underneath of your hoop. And this is the top like this, okay? So now we're going to put our liner in. This is our last stitch step. So you're going to take the right side, you're going to do right sides together, and then you're gonna just make sure you get past all your placements. I leave a little bit extra down here because you close a hole down here. So I leave a little bit of extra fabric down there. I'm gonna line my stripes up together. I think. A little up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and tape it. You're on the underneath of your hoop, so you're going to want it taped. And then we're going to go stitch the very last step, which is going to do the exact same thing the last step did. It's going to go all the way around, but it's going to leave a hole right here. Okay? So I'm going to go run that, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, we are done stitching. There's the top, there's the bottom. You can now take it off of your hoop. I'm going to take my tearaway off. Okay. Now I'm going to take some good scissors. I actually flipped to the back because there is an opening right here. Let me show you. There's an opening right here where the stitches stop. That's where I'm going to focus my first cuts. I'm going to cut at an angle towards the edge of that without cutting the stitches. I'm going to get somewhat close, but not like terribly close. Okay, I'm going to cut all the way around. Now we're cutting excess zipper off. This is why it doesn't matter if you use a really long zipper. You just cut the excess off. This is also why you put the hardware on the inside of your bag, because you cut all this excess off. So that's a good way to remember. If you place it on the outside of your bag, it's just getting cut off. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Once I get to the end of those stitches, I'm going to cut the other direction. And then we don't need this much, so I'm going to just cut all the way across. Okay, now what you need to keep are the liners. The two liners right here are the fabric on either side of the hole. So I'm going to take those two up, get them out of the way. I'm just going to kind of fold this bag. Now I'm going to cut this excess off so we can close the hole clean and you don't have all this excess fabric. Don't cut your scissors at an angle because you will cut these stitches over here. You can see the stitches better from this side. If you want to cut from this side, just make sure this is out of the way so you're not catching it because you want that fabric. Or cut this way, but just cut straight. Don't cut at an angle because you will cut them and you will have to start over or glue it or something. Okay. So just like that. Okay, so I'm going to throw this away. Okay, now you are going to flip through this hole. So you have a hole right here. You're going to flip through. Now be kind of careful because these are just edges with woven. They can kind of tear if you put too much pressure on the side seams there. So I just kind of get my fingers in here and I try to just kind of work it through a little bit, and then I just kind of tug a little bit and fold. Okay. Now depending on how thick of your fabric you used will determine on how hard it is to turn. See, that wasn't that bad. Okay, I'm just gonna stick my hand in here and try to get the corners out. A lot of people have different things they use. I use this turning system thing, a dowel thing. A lot of people have this thing called the purple thing that helps them get corners out like this. So it doesn't have to be totally perfect because you're going to flip the bag again, but I like to get all my corners nice and straight and out before you close it. Okay. I have like fabric everywhere. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple things. There are a few ways to close these bags, and there's no right way. It's whatever you prefer. Okay, so I like to use glue. There's this fabric tack glue right here that's clear, and it's really easy to do. I just go ahead and sandwich the two together, and then I put some glue and put a clip, and put some glue and put a clip, and then it closes. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to dry. There's this way. Recently, most of my videos show this, like earlier videos. I have been using this peel and stick stuff that Jen likes to use now. This comes on a roll. It just has sticky on both sides. It starts out where there's just sticky right there. You just go ahead and leave this out like this. You place it along your stitch lines right here. So you just go ahead and take it. And I just do it right on top of those stitch lines. That's how I know where to put it. Okay, and then I just tear it, take it off, put it over here. Now I just like push it back and forth to get it to adhere to this fabric. Okay, then I take it and I fold it over, and we're gonna kind of sandwich it. That's why we leave this excess fabric on the bottom. And then I fold this over and get it how I want it. Well, it's gonna take a second to get it exactly. Okay. Get it straight and how you want it. Okay, once you have it how you want it, then I start peeling from one side. This is the part that takes like a second. Once you get it started, it goes pretty easily, but a lot of times it's hard to get the sticky part to get onto your fabric on the edge. Okay, so there we go. I just peel a little bit, and then I put my fabric up over that stitch line a little bit because I don't want to see that stitch line. And then I just keep pulling a little bit at a time. Now, if you pull the whole thing all at once, it's really hard to not have your hands stick to all of it. So the key to making this easy is peeling it back a little bit at a time and getting your fabric where you want it. Okay. Now on the end, this always pulls up, so I just try to stick it back down. Okay, and then I just pull it and get it there. Okay. Now, you don't need heat or anything for this one. This is just a peel and stick one, so it just sticks with pressure. So I just make sure that it's all the way down and good to go. There you go. It's completely closed. There's no hole. It's straight. It looks great. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and open your zipper. So our zipper's right here. I always just kind of pull. If you didn't open your zipper, this wouldn't open and you wouldn't have a bag. So you got to open that zipper. This is why. Okay, then I just pull this stabilizer off. Okay, and then I pull it off up here. There is a placement stitch in here that you can use a scissors. See right here, this stitch. You're going to pull that. That was a placement stitch. You don't want that. You can cut it or just tear it like that, like I did. You just want to get it clean. Tweezers can be helpful right here if it's like fraying. It doesn't come out all in one piece. Sometimes mine come out all in one piece. Okay, and then I take my little applique scissors, these ones, these little tiny ones, and I cut off any of these little strings that are hanging up here. Don't cut your fabric though if you're getting really close, just to clean it up. Okay, and you can do more work at getting some more of that stabilizer out so you don't see it at all, but I'm going to move forward. Okay, now you flip through this hole. Okay, so I'm just going to stick my hands in here and flip it like this. Okay. Flip it like this. Sorry, my dog's barking. Like that. And then I'm going to iron it and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, sorry about that. There's no place for me to re-record unless I start all the way over for my dogs barking, but I have a 7-year-old, so it's hard to keep the dogs quiet. So here is what it looks like. I just went ahead and got it all the way turned. Make sure you get your corners all the way out. It'll make your bag look so much better. So here's the back, here's the front. Open up the zipper. Here's your lining. There's no stitching. You can't see anything. It's completely sealed and closed. Super cute. Now I would take it over to your iron. I always put something over it, like a piece of fabric or something, so it doesn't burn like your thread or anything like that. I go like this and then I iron it. Make sure you iron it because you have heat and bond light on here. So as soon as you iron it, that heat and bond light, the sticky part on the other side, will now adhere to the other side of your fabric. So that is a good thing. So here is, again, the 8x12. Here is the 5x7. Super cute bags. This bag's a really good size too. This is the 5x7. It fits Sharpies in here. I'll show you how you could put makeup in here. You can clip this onto a backpack because we put the clip on. That's what the clip looked like. See, it shows the 1 star. Let me know if you have any questions. If you liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that bell. It will notify you when I do another tutorial. And let me know if you have any questions or problems. And again, in the see more under my name, if you look at, you're looking at the video, underneath there's my name. If you look right under it, there's a thing you can click that says see more or show more. All the links are in there. Thank you. Have a good day.